episode of Cheeky Geek Weekly. I'm your host, Josh Irish, as always. And today we're going to be talking about the 5 best NES games. Or really not the best, but like 5 that hold particular nostalgic appeal to me. So these aren't necessarily going to be listed in terms of like how great their gameplay was or how iconic they are, in the minds of most gamers. But it's just ones that were special to me that I just kind of want to touch on real quick because I've been kind of on an NES kick lately. Wanted to share with you guys, so I thought I'd go ahead and do that. You'll also notice this week I'm mixing it up a little bit. I'm not actually using the external mic that I normally am. I'm just using the shotgun mic on the DSLR, which is normally what I use for other shoots like the Nerdco show, which a lot of you checked out this week. Really appreciate it. Any feedback you guys have, also totally appreciate it. It was a lot of fun shooting with Muzz and Sleazy the other night. And they were shooting that again on Monday. So other than that, there's more Zeke and Storm coming your way. I know you guys dug that quite a bit, so stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and just get into the reason for this episode, my 5 NES picks. Now again, these are not necessarily games that I chose because they are exceptional. They're just games that are special to me. So first up, Karnov. Karnov, you may remember, is kind of similar to Mario in a way, in that you've got kind of like an overweight dude with a mustache chucking around fireballs, except he kind of like breathes fire, if I remember correctly. And the reason I chose this game on my list of like 5 best NES games, if you will, is because it was just a lot of fun. I mean, it was just stupid fun, really. And the thing that I liked about it was you're like this ex-carny who kind of gets imbued with godlike powers. And Karnov, you would think, would be a character. Data East developed the game, and you would think that on his own merit, Karnov would not really stick around that long. But that turned out to not be the case, because Karnov actually made, I think, a cameo in Street Hoops 3. I can't remember what platform that was on, but I read that whenever I was doing research for this. So moving on, Karnov, a lot of fun. First time I played those at a friend's house. The next one I will pick, which could be considered controversial depending on what side of the fence you come down on, but I think it's a classic nonetheless. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was actually, it's hard. It's really, really hard. Actually, too hard, you might say, for the demographic that it was targeting. I remember playing this game when I was 6 years old. It was also the first time I remember really having a thing for April O'Neil. And, this is not like a tie-in with, the announced Michael Bay movie and all that Megan Fox stuff. I know a lot of people are upset about that. But this is just like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. To me, first off, the music was incredibly awesome. It was just so catchy and it stuck in your head. And honestly, it was one of those games where you kind of didn't realize that a game could be challenging, which is good, or needlessly difficult, which is bad. And honestly, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, everybody remembers the damn. You didn't even have to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to remember the damn level, because it was an absolute pain in the nuts. I remember it being that, although I did master it and I was able to get through that level. It was just one of the more difficult, levels of the NES era. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles totally makes the list. Next up, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. Now, first off, I was a fan of the show, so of course I was going to like the game, but the thing is, it was actually a really solid platformer. It was kind of fun. You weren't really just like jumping on enemies the same way you would in like Mario, for example, which is kind of like the staple for platformers, but you were like picking up apples and chucking them, and it had a true 2-player mode. And I always thought it was hilarious because, wherever you were, you could actually chuck apples or whatever you picked up off the ground at your buddy and kind of make them see stars for a second, which I thought was just absolutely incredible. And me and my mom spent countless hours playing this game, and it was just one of the most nostalgic games ever. I absolutely adored it. So Chip 'n Dale, I think a lot of you would probably agree with that too. And kind of in the same vein, because apparently I either really love Capcom or just animated flicks. Number 4, DuckTales. Another game with incredible music and actually just a lot of fun gameplay mechanics. Whenever you're Scrooge McDuck, you could kind of jump in the air and then pogo stick down using the cane, and then you could also use to kind of hit things hockey puck style at enemies, which was really fun and unique. And you got to see cameos from all the favorite characters. You got to see Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Launchpad would show up, although he's a horrible, horrible pilot, and that is really reflected in I think it was the Amazon level of that game, because you have to climb up some really rough pedestals. And then he's supposed to kind of come by in a helicopter, help you get to the next one, and he just really sucks at his job. I'm sorry, but it's true. All right, last one, and really I only picked this because it's so novel the way I discovered this game. Or not really the way I discovered it, the way I rediscovered it. Castlevania. I played this for the first time. I want to say I was 7 years old, and Castlevania is a really difficult game, although not quite as difficult and cryptic as the second one, but greater bloggers than I have already covered that, especially James Rolfe, Angry Video Game Nerd, has really talked about how horrible Castlevania 2 was. But the original one for me was very, very special. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of creepy. it was hard. But I mean, that was just kind of characteristic of the era. A lot of those games were really quite difficult by today's standards, and today's games are actually very, very easy by comparison, in my opinion. But the thing I liked about Castlevania, or like the funny little anecdote, I guess, is that after I had originally played this on the NES, and I'll never forget, I was actually at a birthday party. Actually, I guess that would be two anecdotes. I was at a birthday party when I was like 6 or 7, and the only thing I wanted to do was play Castlevania. I didn't care about being outside and playing with the other kids. I didn't want to eat cake. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I just wanted to keep playing Castlevania, and I'm pretty sure that I did, because I'm a horrible, horrible friend. But the other funny thing was, I actually went to a church camp in Beattyville, Kentucky, when I was, I want to say like 10 or 11 years old. And it was funny because I'm at a church camp already, which is kind of, I mean, it was a good time. I had a good time there. But they had like a gym, and then kind of like above the gymnasium, they had like kind of like this canteen area where like they had like vending machines. And it was also the first time I had to drink peach knee-high. Incredible. But oddly enough, they had a Castlevania machine. First of all, I didn't even know they made an arcade machine of Castlevania, which apparently that's common knowledge. But I didn't know it at the time. But it was just so strange. Like, I'm at a church camp, ostensibly a holy place, and yet here is Castlevania, Dracula, and all. Which I guess it makes sense because you're kind of out to slay evil. But I just always thought that was funny that I remembered how much I loved the game running into an arcade machine at a church camp. Very, very strange. So those are my top 5 NES games, just for like pure nostalgic value. I'll probably go into a more in-depth list at a later point, but I want to know what your favorite NES games were. A lot of you grew up with the NES as well. Some of you with Sega. I did not grow up with Sega. I had friends that had Sega Genesis, but I was like a Nintendo kid all the way, and kind of still am in some ways today. So, anyways, that is all for this week's Cheeky Geek Weekly. Stay tuned for more stuff from Muzz. Make sure you check out the Nerd KO site. Zeke and Storm are going to have some more stuff coming out soon. And that is all we've got. So, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite NES games were. Do a video response if you'd like. Totally like to watch that too. And let me know what you think of the new format. Let me know if you think this is better, or if you think I should go back to like where I'm kind of like staring away from you guys and doing the iPhone setup instead of using the DSLR. And so that's all we've got for this week. Thanks for watching, and take care. We'll see you next week on episode 9. Bye.